Welcome, Realm family, to another episode of Wrestling with the Realm podcast. I'm Brian, one half of the Power and Glory of Wrestling podcast, and on the other side, he's my guy. He is the Hercules to my Paul Roma, my guy Will. Will, what are we talking about?
Well, first of all, two quick notes before we start. And it's kind of just how we're upgrading the pod every time we get on here. Do you see these hats? Do you see these hats, everyone? Come. And Brian's got a hoodie on. I have a hoodie, but I wore it to the Bucks game last night.
Oh, that's my
I'm
guy.
just trying to get the word out there. Second of all, do you guys hear how nice Brian sounds on
Hi,
that
everybody.
mic? Come on, it's like ASMR. It's ASMR with the realm. I mean, that is a oh, come on, that is a nice mic, everyone. But that's besides the point. We had a few topics we wanted to get on here and talk about before our next two videos, which is our WrestleMania 9 review, which will be
It's gonna be
recording
good.
Sunday. It's gonna be so good. I
Yeah.
started watching tonight. My favorite part, JR and his gold shoes. That
Yeah,
man
it's not
loves
bad.
talking about his gold shoes.
The
That
whole
gave
thing, Macho's outfit is awesome.
Oh yeah, and their entrances to the ring,
Mm-hmm.
solid. Good stuff. We're not gonna get too much into that. And then we have our WrestleMania predictions video, which will be getting out sometime next week before Brian heads over to Vegas. He'll be at Stand and Deliver. He'll be
Right.
at the WrestleMania roast.
It's gonna be good.
And he'll be with our Wrestling with the Realm family. So hopefully we can get a few people from there over here. So that's
Right.
the but we'll be talking about today. Brian, I want to start with we had two things happen on SmackDown, and they're kind of leaving wrestling fans with a big question mark over their head. We had Kevin Owens,
Mm-hmm.
Randy Orton. The match is off. No more KO versus Randy Orton, which is disappointing
Yeah.
because KO has been putting out the best work of his career, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Even
he's
better
been like
than,
the MVP, man. He's been really
yeah,
good.
he has been just, I mean, the feud with Cody was phenomenal.
Hmm.
And then his feud with Randy has been good. His feud with Sammy was
Yeah.
good. I mean, this dude has been, I mean, the MVP on the men's side heading up into WrestleMania. And he wasn't going to get rewarded with a title match. We all kind of knew that. But a match with Randy Orton felt just as important for
Mhm.
him. And now it's not happening. Neck surgery. If it's true, I really do wish Kevin Owens a speedy recovery. But that's the part where people are questioning. Is this a work or is it not?
Well,
Brian, what are your thoughts?
I mean, everybody who's been listening knows I always say the same thing. It's a work until it's not a work. Um, I think I told Will my example was JD McDonough didn't come out to the ring and explain to all of us that, he punctured his lung and he broke a rib and he did all that. He didn't have to do that. We knew that he was injured. I get that this is Kevin Owens, so it's a little bit different. It was a high profile match. Um, but again, if he really is injured and he needs neck surgery and all that kind of stuff, obviously everybody wishes him well. Um, but because this is the business, you never know what's going to happen. He could very well come running out at WrestleMania and interrupt whatever match uh, Randy Orton is going to have, and we're all crying foul because we believe that he was going to have neck surgery. But, maybe he is, though. And if it is, it was a weird way to come out and present it. Um, Normally, when you do things like that, it is a work, but who knows? I mean, we will see. It was interesting because that match was just starting to get interesting now.
Yeah.
Um, like they had a nice story all built into that. So I'm not sure if this is a work, there really wouldn't be a whole lot of reason for it because you already have enough story going. Putting another layer like this would seem silly and superfluous. So, um, it's probably not a work, but again, I always say everything is a work until it's not. So when we get to Mania, I guess we'll find out for sure then, but anything can happen. You never know.
Yeah, I love a good surprise opponent until they let us down, which they have done in the past with the surprise opponent. Um, but I do love that aspect, the element of surprise, especially at an event like WrestleMania. Last time we got this, it was Cody Rhodes returning.
Mm.
I don't think you can go that high profile. I don't know if there's anyone available. Um,
Nick Aldis, I mean, that makes the most
yeah,
sense.
you could go Nick Aldis. You could go Malachi Black is a name that's been floating
Right.
around. WWE did recently re-sign Rusev um from AEW. I don't there's nothing there with Randy. Um there's a I mean him and Malachi Black have at least wrestled before.
Okay.
Um but there is no premier name that pops off the board that you could be like, that's Randy Orton's WrestleMania opponent. Um, Nick Aldis makes a lot of sense. I would, if they do go the surprise opponent route and Kevin Owens still comes out, the heat he would get would
Yeah.
be legendary.
Right.
Um, Obviously, he's probably, I'm in agreement with you. I do think he's actually hurt.
Yeah.
Um, and they pinpointed a few spots in the Rey Mysterio match that he had where like you can see he lands on his neck pretty bad. Um, so I do think he's actually hurt, but man, if he came out at WrestleMania,
Yeah.
the heat would be built up, and that's why you do it. That's why you present it like this. And you're right. Most of the times they present it like this, it is a work. So that's why I feel like wrestling fans aren't crazy for thinking, hey, this could easily be a work. So I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on that. Do you have any other names you could think of that could wrestle Randy at Mania?
Not really, not anything that kind of makes any sense. I mean, Nick Aldis makes the most sense just because you have a little bit of a history going back with the fine and all that kind of stuff, and I'll pay you 100 grand. That's for the next one. Um, so I think that that would make sense. It would give Nick Aldis a reason to get back into the ring. First time for the WWE for him to get in there. Like it seems like it would make sense whether this is a work or not, it's making the story more interesting because whatever happens at WrestleMania, you're going to be thinking in the back of your mind, oh man, Kevin's Owens, he might come running out. So it adds another layer of unpredictability to the product, and that's not a bad thing. It makes it fun. It makes it a lot better when you're just not sure if it's real or not.
Well, speaking of that, let's move on to our next topic because this is the ultimate. Is it real? Is it not? I am,
Hmm.
like you say, Brian, I'm not going to show my cards too early, but man, this seemed real.
Yeah.
And not to steal your point, but when we were talking about the Charlotte and Tiffany promo, you said neither of these two are good enough actors. And we know that as WWE fans, we watch
Hmm.
their promos. They're not good enough actors to pull that off. That seemed way too real.
Hmm.
And I mean, when she said you're gonna end up like you are outside of the ring alone, what is
Yeah.
that? 0-3? And she like Charlotte started walking towards her and she like rolled out of the ring, slammed her microphone, put her arms in the air, and then Charlotte, you called it a Hail Mary. It
It
kind of
was.
it was. It landed with some fans. I am one of those fans. I thought it was I thought it was pretty good. And she said, "That's why Ludwig's or Kaiser's in my DMs." So, I mean, Charlotte is she's good with the one-liners every once in a while, and I thought that would hit. I thought it was pretty funny. I mean, the look on Charlotte's face, and you brought it up with Tiffany, like she was kind of like stuttering, and we've all had those moments in our life where we're kind of filled with anger or we're going to say something we don't really want to have to say in front of a
Hmm.
bunch of people and you're kind of stuttering over your words but you still get it out. Man, what are your thoughts, Brian? I thought this is not a work. This is real.
Well, as a lifelong stutterer, uh, I took great umbrage to Charlotte cutting that in, poking fun. So here's the deal. When this first happened, I was loving it because I was like, it instantly made this feud and this match exponentially better. I am so excited for this match now because
Yeah.
of this. Why? Because I don't know if there's really heat between these two. It seems like there could be. It seemed awfully it seemed awfully too close to home and too personal in that promo. Now, is the truth somewhere in the middle? Were they to come out, hit their beats, and throw some barbs at each other? Maybe. Somebody at some point went way past that. And it was weird. It was weird watching the promo unfold because Charlotte really did look like she was taken aback by the crowd's reaction because they weren't just booing, they were doing like the Dom Mysterio booing, where
Yeah.
anytime she started up to talk, they would kick it into another gear. And she was letting it, like, you could tell she was letting it get to her instead of powering through and hitting the points that she's supposed to be making. And like the first time when Tiffany throws the Nepo baby, and Charlotte does a it's Nepo Queen, and I'm like, I don't think that means what you think it means. That was like the first part where you go, even if this isn't a work, that doesn't make Charlotte look very good saying that because
Mm,
nobody would be bragging about being a Nepo baby. So for her to use that in some braggadocious way, that was the first thing where you kind of cringed a little bit and not in a way that maybe she wanted you to. You know, sometimes you're laughing at the movie and sometimes you're laughing with it. Like if you watch Catwoman with Halle Berry, you're laughing at it. But if you're watching The Hangover, you're laughing with it. Um, so that was the first thing that stood out where I'm like, it's a weird comeback to try to use as a flex. And the first time you watch it, when you don't know what's going to happen, it seems very weird. It seems very stilted, and the whole segment just seems off. Once you know what's going to happen and you go back, I feel like it makes a little bit more sense. Because when I'm watching it the first time, I was like, why is Tiffany's voice warbling so much? Like she seemed like she was a little bit nervous. And I thought that that was odd because she cuts promos all the time. She normally doesn't have that much anxiousness. Like she sounded anxious. And
mm,
that's one of those things sometimes where even if you're trying not to do that, it's hard if she knows she's about to drop a bomb and she's getting a little bit nervous
yeah.
because when she drops, well, before she drops the big bomb, before that, we get Charlotte doing the crowd booing, and she says, "That's power right there." And the fact that Tiffany didn't miss a beat and was just like, "What time is it?" And everybody erupts and says, "Tiffy time." Like you could almost see her perk up a little bit. Like, yeah, I can do this. It was weird to watch it unfold because it felt so real. And then
Yeah.
when she does the, you'll be alone. And what's your record in that? 0-3. Woo! And then she hit when she got out of the ring, she scooted out of there. Like she knew she was about to say something and she needed to get out of there. Um, I don't think either one of them are good enough actresses to make it feel that real. And the fact that it looked that awkward is what makes me think it may have been a little bit of a shoot. and not just a work. Um, but if they are, if this is all a work, like we should be giving them all kinds of props and kudos and attaboys and pats on the back and flowers that you can, because that would take a lot of ability to make something look and feel that way if it
Yeah.
wasn't actually real. And I'll go back to something else. I was kind of bringing it up to Will, and I was telling my wife it was a few weeks ago on Raw. It was when, or on SmackDown, I'm sorry, when Tiffany did the big dive off of the video screen. It was it was that night, and it was that altercation that those two had. Um, at the time when this was happening, it stood out to me. So now going back and looking at it, I think it's worth taking a look at. Tiffany and Charlotte are working outside the ring, but they're on the ground, and you have security all around them. And Charlotte is kind of throwing punches, and she whips back and she throws a big elbow towards Tiffany's head. And you see Tiffany going from the just kind of like floundering around, with this brawl going on. After that elbow, she kind of takes her ham like a hammer fist and just starts hitting Charlotte in the back. And then if you watch Tiffany's leg, where everybody is standing, you can see her take a kick at Charlotte's ankle. And it was one of those things where when I was watching it, it stood out because I was like, Jesus, she needs to be careful with that kick because that's a dangerous spot to be doing that. So now, fast forward to what we know now, I'm like, I don't know, man. If there is just some heat between those two, you had Charlotte doing the interview the week before, and, everybody, we all sat around and we were like, ooh, man, Tiffany got cooked pretty hard on that. We were all waiting to see what the response was going to be. Well, here was the response. Charlotte got served, and she got served hard. It's just like the South Park episode with You Got Served. I feel like Chef needs to call up Ric Flair and go, yep, yeah, Charlotte got served. Pretty bad. Yeah, yeah, it was pretty bad. It was Tiffany. Like, it was bad. Like, she got her hard. Charlotte comes out of this looking terrible.
Yeah, and you want to know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing. I think I've been waiting for them to treat Tiffany as champion her whole entire title run.
Yeah.
Like I've I've been having this feeling going into WrestleMania that Charlotte is just going to walk over Tiffany. Now that can still happen, but at least I feel like Tiffany's on her own 2 feet and she's running a little bit in this feud
Hmm.
before the match at WrestleMania. And me and you were kind of talking about that with a majority of these feuds are finally kind of finding their legs
Yeah.
and kind of moving.
There was one note that I had. Um, I was listening to Jim Cornette tonight because he was talking about that. I wanted to hear what his take was. But one of the things that Cornette pointed out is he was saying that how Charlotte seemed so taken off her game with the booing, and that the way that she reacted to that wasn't the way that if you're working, you should have reacted to that. Like he was saying, the really good performers can take what the crowd is doing and they can react to the crowd, keep going with what they're doing, and not get messed up and not get taken off of whatever they're supposed to be talking about. Like like Tiffany and Charlotte never even got to, I'll see you in Vegas and any of that. Like they didn't even get to any of that stuff. It never even
Yeah,
got to that point. But it made me think of one particular instance when Cornette said that. It made me think of CM Punk because he's so good at that, of what Cornette
yeah,
is talking about. Um, there was just a couple of weeks ago when they were in Europe and Punk came out and it was just him. And it was the week before the contract signing. And he came out and, he's cutting his promo and he says, next week in London, we're going to have a good old fashioned contract signing. And everybody started booing. And he goes, why are you booing? He goes, are you booing because you wanted it to happen here? And then everybody erupts with applause. And he goes, yeah, me too. That's why I'm here and they're not. And I go, CM Punk was able to take booing that the crowd was doing and make it a bigger pop at the end. Like that takes a lot of skill and finesse to be able to do that because they could have been booing and he could have tried to power through and they would have went on to the next thing. But he actually took that boo, harnessed it, and then
Hmm.
threw it back and it was even better. But for Charlotte to be pulled that much off of her game was really odd.
Yeah, it was weird that Charlotte was so on her game the week
Yeah.
before and then so off of her game the week after. I think just good workers in general, like um I'll get it. You ready for this? I'm gonna get
Yeah.
it in for you. I'm gonna get in the Liv Morgan praise. Liv Morgan's so good at reading the crowd.
Yes.
Um, is it because she's with Dom and that's such automatic heat? Yes. But man, her and Dom do such a good job of reading the heat that they're receiving. They don't try to talk over it. Like Charlotte multiple times tried to talk over the mass booing. You can't do that.
Hmm.
They're going to be louder than you. And then it comes off of I don't know what to do with this pressure. So agreed. That was a good point. I'm happy we circled back to that. Well, speaking of the Judgment Day, let's go with a little transition here. Me and you are both kind of up in the air about this fatal four way. By the way, WWR WrestleMania. There
It's
is so many multi people matches. You got triple threats, you got
Yep.
fatal four
Will
ways.
has been on this.
I I've had a feeling about this ever since the interference of the Braun Breaker Penta match. And I don't know exactly where you go and who wins in a match between Penta, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Braun Breaker because honestly, I think the safest option is Braun Breaker retains.
Hmm.
You know, it is, I believe, at least Braun Breaker's first WrestleMania match.
I think
Uh,
so.
yeah, and we'll get to this when we talk about Jacob Fatu. I feel as it's important for a guy like that to go out there and win their first WrestleMania match. Um, And even though if he doesn't get pinned, it would be a little disappointing to see him lose. But I don't think that he does walk out with it because me and you have been on one of the Judgment Day members eventually turning here on each other. And I feel like majority of people believe that Finn Balor's on the outs.
Yeah.
And he has been building, I mean, tension within the Judgment Day ever since I don't know. It's been a very long time now, ever since the Damian Priest Rhea Ripley feud. Even they have been not on the same page, and then him and McDonough lost the titles, and now McDonough's injured,
Yep.
and I feel like that's the safe bet. But Brian, you had a little bit of a different idea on who could be getting kicked out the Judgment Day. And I
Yeah.
like this one.
Yeah. You always like a lot of my stuff. The problem is most of it sucks. None of it ever
This
sees
one
the light
doesn't.
of
This
day.
one doesn't. And
Um,
I'm in on this one.
if the long shot bet would be that the Judgment Day were to turn on Dom and kick him out, I might put some money on that because I can see this happening. Like, first of all, we're very into unpredictability in today's WWE. They've been almost force feeding us that we know Finn is on the outs. So it would be the swerve, bro, if they all turn on Dom instead. It all goes back after Rhea Ripley beat Liv Morgan on Raw to get the championship back, and Dom goes in the ring and he's trying to make up with Rhea. She kicks him, and then the next time we see the Judgment Day, and Dom and Liv, Dom's getting her flowers and stuff, and Liv is just doing the classic, "Oh, it's okay, babe, don't worry about it." No, it's okay. Everything is fine. You think at some point Liv is going to get back at him and something is going to come around. He's going to get his comeuppance for that. Plus, we can go back even further before Liv got into the Judgment Day and she was trying to get Dom for the longest time. There was the one time where she goes into the clubhouse and she puts her hotel room key down on the table. And once she leaves and then everybody scatters and they're telling Dom how he can't do that, you see Finn's hand swipe the card off of the table. So Finn took her card. So there's little things that we could be either those were just red herrings and, a distraction for us back then to not know what was really going to happen, or was it just really good long-term storytelling? We don't know, but that's what makes it good. That's what makes it fun, is it could be either one of those things. If they turn on Dom, that would be awesome. I just don't know what we do with Dom by himself. I feel like that would be a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
And I would rather see Dom come out ahead on this fatal four way. If they are going to turn on Finn, I think the logical thing to happen then is to have something happen in the match where Dom has no chance of winning and he basically gets to steal a win because the other three guys took each other out or something. Like that seems to be the smart money would be on that, which would still be good. I think that that would be good.
I agree with you. And man, WWE is so good at dropping in those Easter eggs. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching Raw, and Carlito grabs Dominic as everyone's leaving, and he's like, "Don't worry, Dom, I got your back." Carlito's finishing move, the backstabber. And I look way, and this is why we get into these. This is why we're the Otis and the Tozawa of
Right.
King stuff. We look way too far into it. But sometimes, especially at big events like WrestleMania, they go for the most unpredictable thing possible.
Hmm.
And little stuff like that, you look back on it, just like when, Rock, he was at Bad Blood and he held up the John Cena symbol, did the
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, and we look back on that now and we are like, man, we missed that, and it was right in front of our face.
Yep.
Um, this could be one of those moments, or like you said, it could just be a bunch of misdirection, and it is hard to tell. I mean, it would be it would be wrong of us not to sit here and talk about the most over guy in the match. Um, Maybe with the crowd, Braun Breaker's pretty over too, though. That's your guy Penta.
I forgot he's in it. I literally forgot that until you just said it. I was like, who is the fourth person? Like in my
Yeah,
mind, I was like Damian Priest, and I was like, no, Damian Priest isn't in it.
no, it's your guy Penta, and he might not be as over with the crowd as Braun Breaker, but man, that dude has to be over backstage because they have that dude win everything, and he is on a roll. And sometimes it's just easy to point to the guy that's on a roll, and unfortunately, even though I'm not, I think he's just a guy,
Hmm.
and you don't like him. And even though it might be tough for us to say, like, it's easy to point at the guy that's on a roll that the fans like and say,
Yeah.
just give him the belt. It'll be a good reaction. And they tend to treat these AEW talents extremely well when they come over. Um, for a little bit there, I thought there was a potential opportunity for Ray Phoenix to win the US title too.
Yeah.
And um Penta to win the IC title. Obviously, that's not happening now, but you never know. You really don't. To me, he's the guy storyline wise that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
He really doesn't. I think the Judgment Day feud is filler for him. I think he's just in this match to be in this match, but you
You
never
want to know
know
why
what
he's in this match? I can tell you why he's in this match.
why.
Because we want him to be on the grandest stage of WrestleMania, but we want to keep him protected. So we have to put three other people in the match with him so he doesn't have to do all the work. That's why he's in this match.
I knew it was gonna be something going at him.
Well, I mean, it's true. I
You're
mean,
not lying. You're
it's
not
I'm
lying.
not lying about it. I mean, we saw what
Oh,
happens when it's him and Braun Breaker by themselves.
it was not a great match by
No.
any. standards. And you want to know what sucks with Penta is like he'll have a match like that where I'm like, ooh, okay, Penta Braun Breaker, ooh, Penta Chad Gable,
Yeah.
and I'm excited for the match, and then it's a stinker. It really is. He does thrive in the tag team matches
Yes, he was better.
with the stipulation on it, like the one street fight between him and Kaiser was okay. It is stuff like that where Penta definitely is better because he's not the focal point of the offense all the time. And
Yep.
when he is, it's his big spots, and we know Penta loves getting to his spots. It's what he does. He will get his bid off at WrestleMania. I just don't see that ending in a win. I mean, we'll get more to that in our predictions video
Yeah.
later next week. So, yeah, definitely, definitely a lot of madness going on in the IC mid card. It's crazy. It really is. All right. Well, speaking of the Lucha Brothers and Penta, let's talk about his counterpart Ray Phoenix. Um, Brian, you're not big on Penta, but how are we feeling about his brother Ray Phoenix? Are you a fan of the first match? Are you seeing the talent you're not seeing in Penta? How do you feel?
Yeah, I like Ray Phoenix. I think Ray Phoenix is he's entertaining. Like he does the things that a luchador should do, and he has spots that make me kind of go, "Oh wow, that was really cool." Um, Penta, again, I get it. Penta's just not for me, I suppose. But kids love him. I'm just not in the yummy phase anymore. I don't like Sunny D, and I don't order my pizza with just pepperoni on it. It's time to grow up, Peter Pan. But um, Ray Phoenix is, I like Ray Phoenix. I felt like his debut was kind of something that I was expecting with Penta. Um, he was exciting. Uh, he seemed to have a lot of emotion. He performed
Mm,
well, and I thought that he worked well in the match. Um, I feel like he fits right in with Dragon Lee and those guys, like guys who you can just watch and go, "Wow, it's a lot of fun." Um, you throw El Grande Americano in there with those group, and you got something. And by the way, El Grande Americano has been so great because he's putting a light on the luchadors that are in WWE and
yeah.
really shining a light and giving some focus on those guys and making everything look great. I mean, that match the other night was great. That was a great match with the Cree brothers and El Grande Americano. That was a great match. Um, it was a lot of fun. So, it's a pretty tight luchador division that we got going on in WWE, and Ray Phoenix should fit in nicely in that. Um, we'll see what happens with Penta though. But I will say this about Penta. When he was in the tag match with Braun Breaker, he did look better, and I understood how if you have him as a tag team, especially after seeing Ray Phoenix now, I go, that totally makes sense to me because Ray Phoenix can get in there, do a lot of the work. Then Penta can come in, do a couple of big spots, get back out. He can come back in, throw some kicks, do some of that. Listen to me again. He'll throw a lot of kicks. Um, and then he'll get back out. Ray Phoenix can go do some heavy lifting. That makes sense. I understand that's how you should be booking him. Pushing him the way that they are is going to be interesting going forward, especially if they put the IC championship on him. But I like Ray Phoenix.
Well, speaking of that match in general, let me give some props and put people on game to Nathan Frazier because if you're not into NXT, uh,
Hmm.
you probably don't know who Nathan Frazier really is. He is one half of the best tag team on the planet right now because
Yep.
they got it rolling.
Hmm.
Have not been given a single good feud. It doesn't matter. They just go out there and have good wrestling matches. Him and Axiom, who I guess the more um general crowd is more familiar with because he actually had a match versus Gunther.
Hmm.
Um But yeah, they are just elite in the ring. Outside of his one spot where he didn't get through the ropes all the way. By the way, if you watch NXT, you know Nathan Frazier runs those ropes so
Yeah,
fast that he has literally fell through them before.
yeah,
So this is not anything new for him. He'll probably do it again. Um, I know on commentary they talked a little bit about the Seth Rollins training and the comparison to Seth Rollins. I literally think they just cloned Seth. The way Seth moved when he was younger, that's how Nathan Frazier moves right now. I've been a fan for so long. Like I've in the past said that Nathan Frazier's the type of guy that could be a future world champion. And I know that's high praise for a guy that's been stuck in the NXT tag division, but he has good mic work when he's given the chance. Um, he has developed a storyline within his own tag team
yes.
where they are feuding and they don't need to feud anyone else because they're kind of feuding each other. And the whole Fraxium is fine thing is
Hmm.
so good. We don't talk about NXT as much as we should because it's WrestleMania season
Right.
and we're so focused in on what's going on the main roster. But yeah, Nathan Frazier, thumbs up. Ray Phoenix, thumbs up.
A little bit of love for Ray Phoenix with that when you were talking about that spot that
Yes.
when Nathan Frazier goes through the ropes and he stumbles a little bit. Ray Phoenix did a good worker move, and you see him try to grab Nathan and kind of pull him on top of him as to not ruin the spot. Instead of just letting him flop there, he tried to, engage a little bit more to make the spot look better. And that stood out too to me, where I was like, okay, good. He's aware of what's going on in the ring and trying to tell the story.
Yeah, I know we talked about that. And to have those instincts with all the nerves of your WWE debut, thumbs up for Ray Phoenix on
Yeah,
that. His move set is cool. His big spots, like when he was walking going old school and then hit the kick, that was cool.
it was cool.
To me, that is way cooler than anything Penta does.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, Ray Phoenix, Nathan Frazier, the whole match, even though there was that spot, I look at that spot as more of it's going to be a learning moment for Nathan Frazier, but a positive for Ray Phoenix to
Yep.
show those people backstage that he can be trusted. Um, so good on him. Let's move to our final topic though, and let's talk about the US title. And I have some notes on this because although some people are not happy with the LA Knight Jacob Fatu match because there's not enough storyline and there's no history there. Guess what, everyone? I'm a big NBA guy, big NFL guy, big on sports in general. Sometimes you got to go best player available in the draft. Like when the Jazz get on the clock this year and they got the number one overall pick, it doesn't matter if you got a bunch of good forwards. You're going to go Cooper Flag. It doesn't matter. This right here is the slam dunk match, especially because there is no other match you can really point to for LA Knight.
Hmm.
This match is good because it has a superstar like LA Knight in it, and it has an up and comer in his first WrestleMania match who's fighting for a title. Sometimes you just got to put the best product you can out there, and good on WWE for doing so because I'm excited for this match just for the sheer fact that it's Jacob Fatu wrestling LA Knight in his first opportunity to grab a title.
It's you're so right. I love the draft analogy because it's so true. Jacob Fatu is over right now.
Yep.
And the way that they've been building him up is they've been doing it so well. And hats off to Braun Strowman for being able to do that job and do it effectively. Um, because what they've done is you've made Jacob Fatu out to be this monster like a Terminator who anytime you think he's down, he gets back up. and you culminate that with a last man standing match. So going into this match with LA Knight, how do you stop him? How, if Braun Strowman can't do it, how is LA Knight supposed to stop Jacob Fatu? Like, that's an interesting story in and of itself because you've put Jacob Fatu up against a monster and he's the one that walks away. So you've already done a David versus Goliath thing without having to be overt. They've done it in a very organic way. And I think that's a great story because I'm curious to see if LA Knight does win this match, how are they going to pull this off and make it believable that he beat Jacob Fatu? That's where the interesting part comes in. To me, that's what the story of this match is that either Jacob Fatu runs through LA Knight, or how the heck are they going to make it believable that LA Knight could beat him? That's where stuff gets fun and it gets interesting. So I'm psyched for it.
Yeah, I'm surprisingly really excited for the match. Um, you bring up how do you get there? I we both brought up in talking about this a solo Sokoa interference. Um, I don't want that though, because I feel like LA Knight is a big enough star to, if you want him to go over, he should be able to pin Jacob Fatu.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe that's just because I'm high on LA Knight, and I think he's been in situations like a main event match versus Roman Reigns when Roman Reigns was at the peak of his tribal chief run, that I feel as if, you know, he almost beat Roman and the bloodline had to help. Why can't he pin Jacob Fatu? But I feel like Solo will get involved. So I'm already preparing myself for that. We talked about this with Braun Breaker. Are you okay with Solo? Excuse me, Jacob Fatu losing his first WrestleMania match if that's the case and there is interference?
I think if you're going to have him lose his first WrestleMania match, there has to be interference or a schmaz finish for it. Um, because you don't want to bury the monster that you've been creating. You want to keep him going as long as you can. I mean, we could almost say the same thing for Braun Breaker, but Braun Breaker is in a different he's in a different situation with his fatal four way. You have way more people in there where you can protect him a little bit more. You have a one-on-one match with LA Knight and Jacob Fatu, so you almost have to have interference or something happen in order to protect the monster that you've created. So I'm prepared for that. But at the same time, knowing that that's probably coming, where do we go with Jacob Fatu? Does he get a face turn out of this
Yeah,
when him and Solo go? Because it's going to be interesting to see where they can go with Jacob Fatu. And he's impressed me. I was worried about him at first because I didn't know if he could work the mic.
oh,
And he's shown me that he can work the mic just fine. It reminds me of we might have talked about this with Quake, our guy Earthquake. Got to get him on here too, man. That's our boy.
that's our
Um,
boy. Yes.
when Bruce Pritchard tells the story that when Earthquake first came into the WWE, Vince wanted to know, well, can he talk? Because they didn't know. That's why they were gonna stay. They stuck him with Jimmy Hart. Give him a manager to do the talking. And Bruce goes back and he goes to Earthquake and he's like, "Give me a promo." He did a promo. Bruce walks back to Vince and goes, "Yeah, he can talk." And you go, sometimes you're just not sure and you get nervous and then the person comes out. And Earthquake and Jacob Fatu have a very similar promo, Will. They are
But
foaming at the mouth. They are moving. They're waddling. They got the rock going. They
oh
got the
yeah, they do.
whole, like, they are very similar promos. And
Yeah.
that's like just dawning on me now with us talking about it, which is kind of funny, which makes me like Jacob Fatu even more because I'm going to think of Quake every time I see him.
Yeah, I'm a big Jacob Fatu fan. And if there is no interference, I agree with you. that he probably should go over. And then you can have the turn after the match. And I feel like that's important because you need something between him and Solo to make this feud more important. Because unfortunately, Solo's off the WrestleMania card, and you're talking about a dude that main evented SummerSlam. Um, so I mean, you need something to make this feud feel important, and the U.S. title does that. And they're already talking about I'm the guy that's going to bring it home back home to our family. It's not going to be you. And I feel like they're already building and planting seeds as WWE does for a future feud with the US title between these two. So all exciting stuff to look forward to, man. I'm excited for this match.
I mean, it's funny because you were just talking about maybe after the match, and I go, that's genius. That if that's where you want to go with it, is Jacob and Solo Sikoa, that's kind of the way you would book the match, is you would have LA Knight, Jacob Fatu, you would have to have it be a real slobber knocker of a match where LA Knight is hanging in there. Solo Sikoa shows up. Jacob Fatu would have to eliminate Solo Sikoa before he can interfere in the match, doing the no, I don't need your help, because they've already been kind of hinting at that a little bit where he's like, why are you out here? You don't need to be out here with me. So if you have him drop Solo Sikoa during the match so Solo can't interfere and he gets a win over LA Knight, I feel like that's a good way to do that because you can make LA Knight, you don't make him look weak by going toe to toe with Jacob Fatu, but you also get Jacob Fatu to get a big win, and you can get a bit of a face turn with him taking down Solo Sikoa, and now you can move into a program with them. Or you could even have Solo Sikoa try to get involved in the match, Jacob Fatu go try to eliminate him from getting involved, and LA
Yeah.
Knight uses the most dangerous move in professional wrestling and gets a small package on Jacob Fatu and rolls him up and gets the 1, 2, 3. He
Yeah.
gets out of there with a win. Jacob Fatu makes a bit of a face turn, and now you can set up that program with him and Solo Sikoa going forward because now Solo cost him the IC championship. So there are ways I feel like you could book that match and it would come out looking great. Like any of those scenarios, I think are super interesting to see where they would go.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I think it's we talked about it so much this WrestleMania being a builder, and we've kind of been talking about that for a very long time, ever since Um, The Rock came back at Bad Blood. I
Yeah.
think we've been talking about this being a WrestleMania that is building to the next one or SummerSlam or who knows when, but I think we are definitely on a interesting path. I'm excited for WrestleMania, but even after that, I'm excited to see what the fallout of WrestleMania is. I think
Hmm.
that's a I might even be more excited for the fallout after WrestleMania than, you know, the actual card that we've been presented. Because I feel like it is just a no, you just want to see where all these storylines are gonna go. And that's not a bad place to be if you're WWE coming off such a monumental WrestleMania 40 where you saw Roman's title reign end and you saw Gunther's historic IC title reign end. I feel like we might have gave the people too much even of our Jacob Fatu LA Knight match, but you want to know what? It can always change because we still do have another SmackDown
Yep.
and a go home show before WrestleMania to although all they ever do on that go home show is the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale.
Oh
And
no. Oh
oh my
no.
god, oh my gosh,
Oh God.
who's gonna win the match? We'll do that right now. Who is gonna win the Andre the Giant
Okay.
Memorial Battle Royal?
Let's do it on the count of three.
All
Okay.
right,
All right.
count us down.
All right, one, two, three. Damian
Solo
Priest.
Sikoa. Oh my God, Damian Priest. It is Damian Priest. It's Damian Priest. You're so right.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. When do you think they're gonna get rid of that? They hopefully this.
Never.
Oh my gosh.
We're talking about it.
Why? Why? It's so. I love Andre. We both love Andre.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a battle royal, especially when they put it on the um the go home show before WrestleMania. Like, we don't need that. Come on, guys. We don't need it. We're good. I promise you. What should be the prize for winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal outside of that obnoxiously big trophy that they like don't even they win it and they don't even carry it around.
The trophy too big.
It's you.
I don't want that trophy. It's too big. Like even Andre would be like, no, I
No, he would be
don't
good.
want to carry it.
Gosh. Sorry we had to go on that tangent.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a tangent.
That's all right. People, I feel like people enjoy the Andre the Giant Battle Royale. Maybe I'm lying. That's actually a lie. People don't enjoy it, but
I do. I was the one who was telling you that I was all about the gimmick battle royal in WrestleMania 17. I was like, oh, Bobby Heenan came out. It was great.
maybe we need to do like a specific match watch along and we'll do the gimmick battle royal.
Oh,
Quick
Quake
little
is in it.
episode. Maybe we'll throw in speaking of Damian Priest, maybe we'll throw Damian Priest versus The Miz in the zombie match. That will be the two we watch, and it will be such a good time
That
because
sounds kind of awesome.
it is kind of
It sounds kind of
kind of
awesome. I'm not
awful,
gonna
but it's
lie.
kind of awesome because it's so stupid. It's
Damian Priest and the guy from MTV, like that's how I would look at it. Like everybody, everybody understand that when the dead period of me not watching wrestling, I knew The Miz as the guy from MTV, and then the next thing I knew, he's a world champion in WWE. You have to understand that that blew my mind. Imagine not knowing anything and then just randomly seeing that, hey, it's the guy from MTV. Huh, he's a champion now. Huh, it's a weird looking belt. Like that was my thought process back in the day when The Miz was winning championships. So I hear about him and Damian Priest in a zombie match. I'm intrigued.
yeah, it is definitely worth the watch. I will say that it is. Oh, man. Man, I'm excited for the gimmick battle royal too. Okay, that's an episode.
Yeah.
We'll break down what happens after WrestleMania, and then we'll debrief, and we'll just take
Yes.
a deep breath, and we'll watch zombie matches that Vince
Yes.
McMahon used to book back in the day. Because that is, you know, he came up with that idea. He so came up with that idea. That has him written all
Like
over it.
like are we talking like zombies like Return of the Living Dead zombies?
Oh, you'll see.
Oh,
Oh, you'll see. You'll see.
huh. You're making it sound better.
Yeah, I know. I'm
You're only
selling
making
you
it
on it.
better.
I'm selling you on it right
Yeah,
now.
you
We're
are.
gonna watch it. We are.
Oh God.
Oh man,
Oh God, that's amazing. No, I don't got anything else, Will. I'm good.
man. Maybe you don't even got some words of wisdom for him
For who?
for our viewers, man.
Oh, yeah, for the viewers, I do have some words of wisdom.
Okay.
If if you haven't gone over to the Realm Paranormal podcast, do that when you're done listening to us. Just
Yes.
just click back. You know what? Just go into our description. Should be a nice
Mhm.
little link in there. You click on that, it takes you right over to the Realm Paranormal podcast, and you can get more of me. It's going to be a blast. We actually do have our seventh season is going to be coming up soon. Uh, we're reviewing a lot of the evidence from the Ireland trip at Haunted Ross Castle. Um, so we're going through some evidence review right now. So a lot of this upcoming season of the Realm Paranormal podcast is going to be going over a lot of uh, the evidence from Ireland, from a couple of other investigations. So it'll be a pretty paranormal investigation heavy season. So if you guys are into that kind of thing, head over there, check us out, like and subscribe, and you'll be able to get all that content. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, my words of wisdom for you guys is first, check us out on TikTok. It's same wrestling with the realm. More stuff is getting posted up on here. I'm sure you guys will see clips of this episode because there's definitely a lot to share from this one. And if you guys are ever feeling down, feeling like you can't do something, remember Michael Cole is 2-0 at WrestleMania. That man is undefeated. Just remember, anything is possible, guys. Anything is possible.
That's good. That's good, Will.
That
Or
is that's some elite level words of wisdom.
the more you know.
The more you know. All right, guys.
All
Till
right.
till next time.
All
Much
right.
love.
Catch you
See you
guys later next time. Peace out.
guys.
I really am a lifelong stutterer. It sucks. But oh, that got serious real quick.
Good, you're good. Me too, man. I'll stutter
I'm
out, man.
I'm cutting a
You're not
PSA
alone there,
for
man.
the
I feel like this.
Stutterers League of America, like
Oh
the
man.
whole thing. No,
No,
yeah, yeah,
Sam's not caught up in the cryptocurrency
yeah, but
way.
Hank also thought that Naomi was going to win the Elimination Chamber. I know we said we weren't saying it anymore, but it's true.
He did. He did. I wonder what he thinks about the Jade Cargill Naomi match. Maybe we'll have to get him on for that match
You
specifically.
you know he's gonna laugh and want to say Naomi so bad. And you know what? This time I'd be agreeing with them. So that would
Yeah,
be the
I think
crazy
Naomi's
part.
gonna win too.
Yeah,
Oh, we can't get too much into it. That's a later episode,
that's
though.
true. It's
A
true. I
later
feel bad.
episode. I feel like it's
This
like
is
the mid card Royal Rumble.
you know
Um,
how they do the t-shirts now where on Fanatics where it's like 2025 Royal Rumble winner.
I need a 20. Yeah,
They need to have an
I
Andre the
would.
Giant Battle Royale winner shirt.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And I need a press conference after. All right, Brian. You got anything else for the people? I don't have any Pokemon cards today.
Oh, the
I
people
bought
are
way too
devastated.
much last time. I bought way too much last
You got to
time.
get rid of that Squirtle and that Humpty
Yeah,
Dump or whatever his name is. I don't know what some of these
I'm,
guys are.
yeah. No one has even contacted me like, hey, I would buy those cards. Nope, not a single one of you guys. You guys know. You guys know. I don't blame you guys. I can barely get them off my eBay right now. One watcher though. One watcher. I've sent him like 16 offers. He is
16.
he's not biting one bit. He's probably a bot. He's probably not even a real like viewer. Like he doesn't care. Only if they're at the people that deserve a stray every once in a while. Like Penta,
Yeah.
stray. He can catch one. It doesn't matter.
Over on the Paranormal podcast, I've alienated Stephen King pretty good. He's number one
Oh
on my list. And over here, Penta is becoming my Stephen King, man, where I'm not. You know what, though? I am not lying that's why that is a fatal four-way because they
man.
want to have him on the card.
It
And,
was hard. It
like,
was hard, but you're not lying, man.
I
You
mean,
really
it's true.